From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA, direct from Santa Monica, California, with the big detail about your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. In tonight's recording, we'll go over that recon. In your first look, we look at the reconciliation budget bill. It's been released, and there's 645 pages of checks in there in this incredible recon. We'll go over all the details of these checks, and guess what? It's deliciousness. Then we'll be cutting to the big set of checks in the next phase, cluster number 2, then to cluster number 3, and guess what? The biggest cluster you want to know about is Bernie. As the president's biggest ally, Bernie Sanders, is preparing to give you a monthly stimulus check. I'll go over what he has in place and what is happening with that as well. It's a big night, and the shocker came earlier today when Janet Yellen, your Treasury Secretary, announced $13 billion is now available for what? For more money for rent and utilities. It's a big night, and it starts right now, and this is Evenings LALATE. Everybody, I hope you're having a beautiful evening across the globe, and thank you for joining me. I'm here in Santa Monica, where it has gotten colder because winter is upon us, even in September. But jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from in this big recording. We'll go over the exciting details as the reconciliation budget bill has been released. The first 645 pages, checks of all kinds, checks for workers, checks for seniors, checks for adults, $51,000 of MSCs. Then we'll be cutting to cluster number 2, nearly 12 other checks, including a $1,700 for paid and medical sick leave. And did I mention hazard pay? Oh my goodness, it's getting deliciousness in this video. And then, of course, the biggest deliciousness, this one. Bernie Sanders staffer, again, turning to viewers of this channel and confirming there will be a fourth stimulus check in the fourth stimulus recon. Away we go. Then out of nowhere, a big surprise that no one saw coming, not a wave, but $13 billion of additional sums for rent and utilities. This is what Janet Yellen added, and I'll have all the incredible details in that part of the recording. It's a big day, and this is Evenings LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is a whole slot of programming, so subscribe. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Meantime, sign up for those LA alerts. Let's get right to those checks. The first 645 pages of the reconciliation budget bill released, and there is checks of all magnitudes in there. Let's get right to those checks without wasting any minutes of time, and they are incredible. I'm going to go over broadly what they are, and then I'll go over the specifics. There are checks for hazard pay, checks for fixing your home, checks for students, checks for reoccurring checks of $51,000 over 18 years. Incredible. Checks for buying a car, checks for buying a bike, checks for buying a commercial car, and then checks for college students. Wow. Let's get right to those checks starting right now. Of the first 645 pages of the reconciliation bill, which will ultimately be in the thousands of pages, maybe 8,000 pages, these are the first checks. Number 1, checks for hazard pay. The incredible detail is that this hazard pay is not pandemic. In fact, nothing in this fourth stimulus package is pandemic-ish, so you don't have to have suffered anything from the pandemic. These are lifetime benefits. What's the hazard pay? It's the extension of the third stimulus into permanent tax code history. What happened? Under second stimulus, we had heard about hazard pay a lot. They didn't get it done, but they got it finally done on third stimulus. What did they do? They modified an old tax code called the Earned Income Tax Credit to expand the eligibility so more people qualify it, making it available for anyone from age 18 to at any age on the high end, and then expanding the income qualification so more people with a little bit more income would qualify. What did they also do? They took the money and gave you more of it. Annualized. the earned income tax credit for hazard pay, essential workers. But guess what? That was only for a few years under third stimulus. Fourth stimulus makes it a lifetime. Wow, that's incredible, great news. The next part of the next checks in the fourth stimulus recon, a big surprise. Coming from Richard Neal, the head of the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, up to $4,000 a year per person if you care for an elderly. This is a big one for people who are caregivers for elderly or caregivers for young children. It will pay up to $4,000 a year per person. This is incredible. And again, this is not pandemic. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. And this is a permanent change to the tax code. So as long as you do this for the next 10, 20 years, this would be for you. Incredible. How about some college students? Yes, there is money for college students. They're going to make the Pell Grant tax-free, and they're going to give money to the colleges so that they can give you money as well as forms of grants. How about your home? Well, they are going to pay you money to rehab a home if it's in a low-income community. Incredible. Rehabbing or repairing a home in a low-income community will be part of this first 645 pages. But how about $51,000 of MSE, monthly stimulus checks or multiple stimulus checks? There's a lot of multiple stimulus checks in here because you qualify for a lot of things, but this one's literally monthly. $300 a month, every month for up to 18 years for you, your child. This is incredible, great news. Under third stimulus, we introduced the child tax credit, which is $300 a month approximately for a child under the age of 18, but the third stimulus is not a lifetime. Well, guess what? The child tax credit would be a permanent fixture of the tax code, meaning that if your household that remains low income over the next 18 years and you have a newborn, that child will get $300 a month every month for 18 years. Just before I went on camera, guess what was trending on Twitter? This item, the earned income tax credit, because they say it's a very, very popular item currently. Guess what? I got more money for you right now. And what is it? A bike. Behind curtain number one? Yes, behind a bike. The price is right. This is the details. They'll give you 15% to buy an electric bike. Incredible. Personal use, vacation use, anything. 15% towards an electric bike. How about some cars? They will give you up to $7,500 for purchase of a new electric vehicle for personal use. And that is from a major 3 auto manufacturer. They're trying to do it also for Tesla and the import companies. Then they also have a similar provision, which may be a little bit more if the car is for business use. The numbers keep on coming. There is just lots and lots of checks in this first 645 pages. So what is the 645 pages? Why do we just have 645 pages? Let's go over all the incredible details. First, these are the first sets of checks in the first pages of what will be an 8,000-page bill. In just a minute, I'm going to go to the next 12 checks, which includes $1,700 a week for some people, which includes money for fixing your home for weatherization. And then the third cluster, I'm going to go to checks for seniors, checks for workers. That's the third cluster. They're all going to get reduced to a writing for the bill. But so far, the first 645 pages have been written. Why these pages? Let's go over all the details. First, who negotiated this? Democrats or Democrats. How? They do it behind closed doors. Not on broadcast media, not on C-SPAN, not on the congressional floors. On the telephone, in person. Once they say, yeah, I agree to that, then they go write it. These items, the first 645, were easy for them to agree upon. They said, go write them. Done. So these 645, done. What's cluster number 2? Items that they've been talking about day in, day out that they universally agree to, but they're going over the terms and conditions. How much? What percentage? What eligibility? I'm going to get to those in just a minute. Then the third cluster are items the president wants to have in there. He's likely to get them included as well. They include money for seniors, money for workers. Guess what? I got checks for all of you in this fourth stimulus recon. And then what about Bernie? Yeah, you've been wondering, and I delivered the world exclusive no less than 3 weeks ago when I told you in a world exclusive, only LALATE was reporting that Bernie Sanders' staff had told viewers of this channel that he is giving you a monthly IRS stimulus check in the fourth stimulus recon. Well, 24 hours ago, another viewer made the call to make the impassioned argument of why we need a stimulus check, and that viewer got another confirmation. His name is Danny. In what I now refer to as the IRS stimulus check, or the IRS MSC, Donnie says, I called Bernie Sanders' office and his secretary said they are doing a forced stimulus check. They are. And I said to this lady, this is why I need it. I need it. My city needs it. I need it to progress. I need it for my water and everything. I told her that. And she said, okay, they are doing a fourth stimulus check. More about that MSC IRS stimulus check in Brother Joshua's conversation coming up later in this video in just a few minutes. But first, the big shocker, which no one saw coming. $13 billion available today for you. Yes, out of nowhere, we got the incredible announcement this morning that the Department of Treasury under Janet Yellen has another $13 billion that's going to be sent out to your cities, counties, and states for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. This is huge. What's going on? This is third stimulus. Third stimulus, which I cover extensively on this channel and get to later in this video, is the money for rent, utilities, food, and internet. It's likely not to get continued under fourth stimulus. So far, we've had no indications of continuing on fourth stimulus. But had it run out of money? Most states, no. But frequently, viewers would say, I'm having problems finding it in my county. I'm having problems finding it in my state. Not anymore. Every state is getting replenished with another pot of money. It's $13 billion. What's at issue? Under third stimulus, the third stimulus package dedicated a total of $47 billion for this money. They sent out federal Treasury initially $25 billion, then $9 billion after that. Well, they have another $13 billion they're sending out right now. Treasury Department sent a statement obtained by LALATE the following: Treasury's happy to provide the states and local governments additional resources, money, to support Americans in need of rental assistance. This is huge. So if you've reached out to your city, county, and state and they said, we're out of money, get that phone number back from your phone, from your cell phone, write it down, get ready to call them because the money's landing. I'll be covering this later in this video. But let's cut to the next pot of money, the next pot of checks under the fourth stimulus recon. All right, so these are the checks which all the Democratic caucus members, Senate and House, have been talking about over the last few days, and everyone and their brothers and sisters believes they're getting them in there. All they're doing now is going over the amounts and the terms and conditions. There's about 12 of them, and here they are. First, expansion of the paid family and medical leave check. Wow, this is a lot of money, and let me explain what this is. What is paid family leave? It means if you're working and you have to stay home because of a wonderful family event, let's say your spouse got pregnant, then you will get paid for that paid family leave. Next, let's say you have to stay home because of an unforeseen medical event, not COVID, just a medical event, like your son broke his leg, then you will get paid sick leave. How much does it pay? Here's the calculation. Under third stimulus, they first proposed this, and this is how they did it then. $1,700 based upon a $71,000 salary or more per week, but prorated. So let's say you make less than that amount of money. Let's say you make half that amount of money. Then you'd split it in half. $800 a week if you make $30,000 a year. Let's say you only make $15,000 a year. Then you would get $400 a week. Insane. Wonderful, wonderful relief. Again, this is paid sick leave and paid medical leave for a person who has to stay home from work because of these events. The federal government would provide the funds to your employer, who would then be required to pay this money to you. Next, build up of the child care program. Then, expansion of the household tax credits, including the enhanced child tax credit implemented previously. Then, weatherization checks to weatherize your home. What is this? Complicated word? Not really. If you need to weatherize your home because of hurricanes, fires, tornadoes, make modifications to your home, the federal government will provide you checks for this. This is huge. And it really makes sense because then FEMA and other organizations have less financial burden because more homes are prepared to sustain weather events across the globe. Then there's more money, including expansion of Medicare benefits, including, this is my seniors, expansion of medical benefits, including lowering the eligibility age, checks for dental, checks for vision, checks for hearing. It comes up also in the third cluster. Expansion of the Affordable Care Act subsidies, and there come a lot of checks for education. First, checks for free pre-kindergarten. So if you have a child who has to go to pre-kindergarten, the federal government will pay for it. And the next one's very good for me. What is it? It's free community college provided by the federal government. So a lot of you don't understand my voice. I understand what he's saying. Is he talking French? Well, now you can go take French at your community college and the federal government will pay for it. So you can't complain when you don't understand what I'm saying. Free community college to take that class to figure out what the world is LA talking about. You don't have to get an actual degree. They'll actually pick up the check for you entirely. And then there's a few other items that are a little complicated, like transportation green energy. We'll see more about that when that's released. Wow, that second cluster, and that's likely to get written up for the fourth stimulus recon any moment. All right, let's cut back to third stimulus. Third stimulus, that rent, utilities, food, and internet. We have new inspiration stories, and today they come from Dragon, who you see in a lot of the live chats, wonderful viewer, and D. Miller. D. Miller, whose name is Danielle, says, thank you, LA. I received $18,000 for rent. Dragon received $18,000 for SNAP, $900 plus another $2,300 for utilities, $12,000 for rent. Grand total $34,000. Well, the exciting details that everyone is talking about is the incredible equation of that IRS stimulus check. What you're going to see in this recording is that I've always talked about advocacy, and that advocacy for a stimulus check is so important. And Donnie made that call yesterday. And spoke to Bernie Sanders' staffer and said, I need to tell you why I need a stimulus check. And again, the staffer, in not the only time, but the repeated occurrence, confirmed that Senator Bernie Sanders is providing a monthly stimulus check. I called Bernie Sanders, and his secretary said, they're doing it. She said, okay, and they're doing a fourth stimulus check. Wow. Now that's incredible, great news. Coming up later in this video, I'll be going over the third cluster of checks. It's incredible. It includes money for seniors, money for workers. Those third cluster of checks are likely to get written any day into the bill. I'm going to go over how they combine this bill and get it done. I'll go over more about what Senator Bernie Sanders' staff has told viewers of this channel about a monthly IRS check. I'll go over how to get the big sums of money for rent and utilities. And a new surprise, as viewers are now showing me that my ability to show you how to get rent from 2020 is now working again in 2021. And then we'll also cut to a surprise across the board. It's all coming up in a big evening's broadcast. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA, direct from Santa Monica, California, as we go into the exciting third cluster of checks in the fourth stimulus recon. Don't wipe out there, Mr. Surfer. That looks a little dangerous. Then we'll be cutting to the exciting detail about Bernie and that MSC. Details you're seeing for the first night tonight on Evenings LA. We'll be cutting to the big money that you can get across the globe, across the U.S., as another $13 billion is given to your cities and states for rent, utilities, and food. And then in a big surprise, the nonprofits have stepped forward and are now starting to pick up money for rent and utilities as well. Oh my goodness. Those details and more as we go into a big night of Evenings LA. I'm really excited and energized, and this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week, Financial News Channel America, live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is nearly 6 hours of programming. Shows coming up tonight at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30. More about them in a second. But subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Let's cut to the big exciting details of the third cluster starting right now. The third cluster of checks for the forced stimulus reconciliation bill likely to be written up and released any moment. These are items that the president wants, and these are the items that he's likely to get, some of which are automatic. Checks for farmers, checks for free internet, checks for free school meals for all, checks for tax breaks, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for clean energy, checks for workers alike, independent contractors, checks for seniors, as in lower eligibility age, for Medicare, checks for dental, checks for vision, checks for hearing care. Some of those checks automatic, some of them nearly automatic. Nearly automatic, the internet. They're going to give fortunes to your local cities and counties so that they can run their own internet company. And all you have to do is say, hi, I live here. And they say, hi, here's the password and username for your Wi-Fi connection. Free internet automatically. The other one is really automatic, and that's cheaper prescription medication. How would this work? You go to the pharmacy on Monday. You pay $20 for a medication like you've always had over the last 10 years. And then the next time you show up, it's $5. Why did it get slashed? Because of this bill. This bill would overnight slash prices on certain medications because of the preferred rate between the federal government and the pharmaceutical companies, resulting in you having immediate savings in your bank account the next moment. Wow, that is incredible details. Now, let's cut back over to third stimulus and get these big sums of money for rent, utilities, food, and internet starting right now. I'm really excited about these because guess what? The numbers are going bigger and higher. Yesterday, we had some new success stories. Lorica, Stay, Lori, Suelan, and Patrice and Jen. And Jen got $38,000 of rent. Jen, that's incredible. She's also helping her neighbors and everyone else. Well, let's look and see what Mark, who is one of our longtime viewers, he got $55,000 from his channel. You may remember Mark. Well, guess what? He then started to help his brother-in-law, and that brother-in-law got even bigger numbers than Mark. Let's look and see and compare what the brother-in-law did. You saw the viewers of this channel started getting about $20,000 of rent about a month ago. Then Elizabeth Purple Hawk got to $27,000. Well, Jen overnight got nearly $40,000. Incredible. Then when we talk about utilities, Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000. Johnny, $9,000. So suddenly the numbers have gone up 300% from $5,000 to $15,000. How about the SNAP that 2 months ago was $5,000? Well, Mark's brother-in-law is getting $21,000 for SNAP. And then people are getting massive sums of money. So let's get a pen, paper, and a cell phone ready. I want you to take down all this information, and I have some new surprises for you tonight on Evenings LA. Number one, I want to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6 places. Number 2, each place has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Also, I'm going to show you some keywords to say. I'm going to show you some new places to get money. I'm going to have a new surprise as well. All right, we're going to get some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners assistance. Let's start with the rent and utilities. Before I start, something totally new, which I have to say. If you reached out to your city or county before and they said, we're out of money, let's say like a New York or Los Angeles, guess what? That will no longer be the case either today, later this week, or potentially next week, because the $31 billion is going everywhere to every city, county, and state. So pick up the phone and say, hey, did you get the $31 billion? What $31 billion? Oh, it's landing. Janet Yellen sent out another $31 billion. Can you keep me on the waiting list or call me back when you get it? And when it happens, then you'll be able to pounce. All right, here are the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, State House Authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID, and there you go. Now, I also want you to reach out to all your utility companies. So if you got 4 or 5 utility companies, reach out to all of them. Then a big surprise, out of nowhere, I started bringing back one of our 2020 and 2021 shows into the mix. The show's name is Purple, and Purple airs on this channel at 11:30 p.m. last night and tonight as well. Purple goes over a lot of the nonprofits. The nonprofits paid rent, utilities, and mortgage in fall 2020 and early 2021. I didn't really know if they still were, but I said they had paid it just a few months ago. One viewer on Countdown's Morning to LALATE at 7 a.m. today was in the live chat, said, I watched you last night, LALATE. And I reached out to United Way where I was, and they immediately said, no one contacts us anymore for rent. We have it here. We're putting you first on the list, and you're likely to get it. There you go. So here are the nonprofits to consider. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. Again, United Way, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul, Salvation Army, and Catholic Charities. If you need to hear the list again, you can always replay it. Meantime, tune in to 11:30 show tonight. Purple. The title's purple. The image is purple. And it also aired last night, so you can watch it on replay currently on the channel. It covers these incredible nonprofits. Let's turn then to the money for SNAP. SNAP you can get from the Department of Agriculture. It pays a lot. And yes, Mark's brother-in-law got $21,000. Well, now he's sitting on top of $26,000. Why? Because the Department of Agriculture is raising everyone's benefits up nationwide automatically starting in October, an average of 25%. Let me explain something about this because I've seen a lot of comments about this. The current raise of it under the pandemic, that's ending this month, but then the 25% starts in October. And lastly, 2 pots of money coming back to you. First, the refund check from your state due to overpayment of unemployment benefits. It's landing by direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Average payouts are about $2,000 to $5,000. And lastly, the refund check from IRS. This is coming back to you due to overpayment this is due to the payment of taxes on the 2020 unemployment benefits. Average payments anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000. Margaret got it, Cod got it. You can check it by doing an IRS transcript search. And with that, it's time for the final 15 minutes of this video. I'm really excited for you. As we go into the third cluster, we go into all the clusters of checks put together. I explain to you what's going on with Bernie. I go over the IRS check. I go over what the House is doing versus the Senate. And I go over stuff you never heard until you found this channel. It starts right now, and with that, let's go into the final 15 minutes of this video with your fourth stimulus check of 2021. Well, here we go. We have 645 pages of an 8,000 potential page bill released. Cluster 2 and Cluster 3 likely to get in there. They just need to agree upon the terms. Who is this? The Democrats, House and Senate. Who would write it? The House members. I had told you over the last 2 months that my intuition was the House members would be drafting the bill. They would be the actual authors. I was right. The House members are the authors of the language. So what are they doing to get those cluster 2 and 3 done? And could there be more clusters? 1, there could be more clusters. 3, second, what they're doing is they're informally, behind closed doors, negotiating the terms to add more clusters in there. And how about that one cluster? The MSC IRS check? Yes. If you've been on this channel for the last 2 days, you've seen the incredible growth. I really appreciate the last 2 days last 48 hours being the biggest days of this channel in nearly 3 months. And the excitement starts with understanding one of the terminologies I'm using now, which is IRS check. Because for stimulus recon does have multiple checks you qualify for and does have monthly checks in there. So the MSC language may be confusing to some. So when we're talking about the Bernie checks, we're referring to IRS checks. Let's go over the details of that starting right now. About 8 weeks ago, I told you the importance of advocating for monthly IRS checks. And it started by saying to you, pick up the phone and call your Democratic senators. Not a lot did. Margaret did, and WR did, a longtime viewer of this channel, picked up the phone and advocated for a monthly stimulus check to Senator Chris Coons, that's C-O-O-N-S, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's oldest confidant. And the staffer told WR, yes, he will be giving you a monthly forced stimulus check when the bill lands in the Senate, monthly IRS stimulus check. Now, there's some things about this that are very, very important. Number one, WR was in the morning's countdown show today, and someone said, I'm praying for this. I pray every morning, pray to God. He said, prayer is good, but you need to pick up the phone. There's no excuse not to pick up the phone. He was absolutely correct. And in every video, he's telling people, pick up the phone and call your Democratic senator. They need to hear from you. And the importance of advocacy is so critical to this channel. Advocating for a stimulus check is using sentences, explaining your story. I need a stimulus check because this is what's happening to my family. This is what's happened to my community, my church, my business, my home, my town. I need to tell you my personal story. They're legislators. They resonate well when they hear a personal story. They need to understand what's your situation. So they say, wow, this person called me up and told me this incredible story of why he needs or she needs a stimulus check. They remember that. This, however, I'm about to show you, is not advocacy. When, where, how, who, isn't? No, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. They're not UPS. They're not FedEx tracking. They want to hear your personal advocacy. That's what Bernie Sanders said 4 weeks ago. Bernie Sanders is the chairman of the Budget Committee on the Senate. And as the chairman of the Budget Committee on the Senate, he's not writing the 645 pages. That's the House Budget Committee. So he's very important to the equation. I'll show you in a second why. But 2-3 weeks ago, he said to broadcast media, as a budget chairman, I do things differently than prior budget chairmen in D.C. I like to get out amongst the people. I said that means he wants to hear from you. He wants to hear what he should be doing with the budget. And I immediately said, pick up the phone, call Senator Bernie Sanders and advocate, say emphatic sentences why you need a stimulus check. Margaret did, Lynn Glenn did, and Brother Joshua did right away. And Brother Joshua, 2020 volunteer at the community page, longtime viewer of this channel, and also Purple Hawk, picked up and advocated for a stimulus check. I need it for this reason, for me, for my check, for my church, for my family. And the staffer at Bernie Sanders' office said, yes, he will be giving you a monthly stimulus check. There you go. World exclusive. Second, that the monthly stimulus check will be $1,000 to $1,400. There you go. That the monthly stimulus check would run 3 to 6 months. There you go. But he needs your support. Purple Power, we got this one. You pick up the phone and you call them. You call Elizabeth Warren, Ron Wyden. They want to give you a monthly stimulus check. They said it on the rec. They've written letters about it. You call Chris Coons. He says he wants to do it. Call him up. Say, I support you. Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer. They want to hear from you. They are doing these final agreements on these clusters. And now is the time to make the push. There was a wonderful comment by a viewer on Twitter yesterday who said, I'm very shy. I'm not very good on advocating for things, but I didn't think I had the stomach to pick up the phone and call. But I did. I called Bernie Sanders' office. I got a voicemail and I left a message and I felt so good about it, LALATE. Thank you for giving me the encouragement to make the phone call. Make the phone call and say, I need it. This is why I need it. They need to hear your personal story. All right, let's go to now an interesting twist, which you're not going to hear anywhere else, of course, except here. It's how they get this entire bill together and over the finish line. 645 pages, but only 645 pages of what could be an 8,000-page bill. Where does it all come together? It's likely that the remaining pages are written by the House Democrats after agreement between the Senate and House Democrats, and then the House Democrats called for a vote first. This is what I'm predicting. Then, once the House Democrats approve it, it goes over to the Senate. The Senate then has a 2-day vote-a-rama where they make changes. Now, this is critical because guess who wants to give you all these other items? Chris Coons, Senator. Ron Wyden, Senator. Bernie Sanders, Senator. Elizabeth Warren, Senators. They want to give you other sums of money. Senate Democrats likely love to add or increase items that they get from the House. They're not going to remove anything. They're not going to take out their eraser and start scratching things out. They're either going to make the numbers bigger or add something in there. This is huge. And so if it comes back to the Senate, if it comes back to the House thereafter, the House is going to approve it because the House has no problem spending money so long as the senators do. Let's cut over to fifth stimulus because guess what? That's happening right now as well. I know it's a lot. Third stimulus paying right now with rent, utilities, and food. Fourth stimulus currently getting ready to the final pages of the bill. And fifth stimulus, they're drafting that right now as well. Out for a potential vote later this year, November. impacting your pocketbook by about December next year. What is it? First, they're going to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, or SSA. They're going to apply a new benchmark. That new benchmark is inflation, and inflation is going to be transitory in December. Transitory is a fancy word to say spiking, going up and then coming back down. How high do I say inflation is going? I say about 5%. Let's do the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply the new benchmark. If it's 5%, your benefits go up another 5%, not just next year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. They're going to move the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. It's going to go away. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to end. And love is going to win, and you will no longer fear loss of benefits. Will there be a fifth stimulus check? They represent they're going to give you one as well next year, the House Ways and Means. And finally, what about those Purple Hawks? If you're in the live chat and you've not become a Purple Hawk, you need to right today. Purple Hawks is delivered daily from me to them, a breakdown of all the big money available under second, third, first stimulus, everything proposed under fourth and fifth. Because guess what? This is a lot of money. I launched Purple Hawks in January of last year when people understood that there was a lot of other money happening in third stimulus besides a $14 stimulus check. And the great news is that now another $13 billion is coming out to your cities and states. Third stimulus is still paying. Can you imagine? Going into October, third stimulus is still paying. And this is critical. You need to get every penny you can because a lot of these items for third stimulus are likely not going to be continued under fourth stimulus. Incredible sums of money. I deliver daily to the Purple Hawks members and Purple Power and Casino VIPs a breakdown of all the big money available under first, second, and third stimulus, so consider becoming a member. And finally, boy, a recap of a big day with a lot of news, and I know you feel like, wow, that's just a lot. Third stimulus, fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, all in one recording. Checks now, checks coming, checks in December. Oh my goodness, it's a lot. Let me give you a big recap of everything starting right now, especially if it came late into this broadcast. The exciting details of all this starts right now with the final recap. The reconciliation budget bill has been released in its first few pages, 645 of which are part and parcel of what could be upwards of an 8,000-page bill. In that first 645 pages are checks, including MSCs and multiple stimulus checks, multiple items you're qualified for. Everything for $4,000 to take care of the elderly, hazard pay, taking care of children, money for your car, money for your bike, money for your home, money for your education, money for your repair of your home, and similar. That is reduced in a 645-page part of the bill after the Democrats of the Senate and House already agreed upon these provisions. What they're still trying to finalize for writing purposes is Cluster 2 and Cluster 3. That includes checks for seniors, checks for workers, checks for weatherizing your home, checks for paid sick leave, paid for medical leave, checks for college education, and checks for minor education as well. Checks for prescription medication, and checks for free internet. The Democratic caucus has the opportunity to make changes now and also when the Senate gets a hand on the bill, which is potentially going to be the final step. And among the senators, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Coons all say they want you to have a stimulus check from IRS monthly. And Bernie's staff confirming that not once, but several times to viewers of this channel, including yesterday. Finally, $13 billion of additional sums of money have now been sent out to the counties and states for rent, utilities, and food on the third stimulus. Go get that money right now. It will be there starting in the next day or two. Places that were out of money before will be replenished, every single one of them. And lastly, the big surprise is that the nonprofits, which I covered on this channel from 2020 and 2021, are still paying. Watch Purple tonight at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also last night as well, where I go over the sums of money. New shows coming back in the mix that you loved from earlier this year are business grants, learning about big money for you to start a business. And then our SSI and SSDI show is coming back in the mix as well. Coming up tonight, meantime, is Overnight's Crypto on this channel, as crypto is going left and right, but is it going higher? And we got shows at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, Every night, every hour on the hour, there's a new show on this channel. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and then 11:30. And I'm so excited for you to join me on a big night, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. I'll see you next, and don't forget Overnight's Crypto. Have a beautiful evening, and stay with LALATE.